Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Gaming with Blockchain. I'm your host, A and it has been a while. I know. We're looking at quarter four in the last few months of 2021, and the metaverse has blown up significantly. As you probably already know, you've seen so many new games that's been coming out, new play-to-earns, new features, new updates, new fantastic elements that's brought into the NFT blockchain space, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I know I've said this before, but it's just something that keeps evolving over time. And as we all know, some will be successful, some won't as well. Something you have to anticipate. But I know I can't touch on every project, and that's not the point here. So I'm just kind of revamping or bringing in an introduction to where we stand so far. There will be probably another episode where I'm going to tap into a few new projects, or at least particularly one for sure. But in the meantime, what's been happening? What has been going on in the last few weeks, and what can we anticipate by the end of the year? And I think by the end of the year, we're going to have a nice big surprise in many fronts. So let's start off. We're looking at Upland right now for the month of October. So we know we've been seeing it all over the media. We've seen it in some of the stores. Halloween. I mean, it's one of my favorite times of the years. Actually, it's just something you can really celebrate. It has no real pretentious elements to it. And again, this is all personal. It's just a moment that you can really have fun. I mean, I know COVID has put a damper on it in some ways, but still, you could create that imaginative experience. So here I'm opening up the page, and I'm greeted with this notification that all the block explorers will have these ways in which they can kind of put on their own costumes. And if I go into the read more element, it is just more information on what we can expect to be finding in the Upland store and what kind of costumes. I haven't yet to determine what that will be, and I have not sure what's there. So let's take a quick look at what they have on the video, and see what's happening in their space. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I think that will be something that's going to be quite impressive for a game that's now going to have these great themed Halloween neighborhood. Imagine you have a block. I mean, I remember it in some of my neighborhoods that I lived in. This group of houses will just come together and say, okay, let's create a Halloween theme. This may be translating into the metaverse as well. Who knows? But again, it's just one of those options that you look to see as the game evolves and taking advantage of some of these elements for the seasonal celebration. So then we're looking at to see that happening in the, you know, second to last week of October, and see what will be in the giveaways, what you'll find in the store, and then of course what you'll be seeing and how you can build on those properties as well. So something to look forward to, something to look into. I'll be trying to find that. Like I said, I enjoy my Halloween stuff, so I hope to be able to at least decorate, if not my block explorer, but at least definitely a property that has already been built. Okay, now let's go into the game itself. They've had their Spark release, another Spark release purchase opportunity. I just went in and collected a bit more, and it's already going to be part of my queue. I'm in Kansas right now, and so they've offered, if you're within your tiers, remember you have a visitor, uplander, pro, director, executive, and chief executive. Each time you can level up, you're awarded Spark. But again, I'm not sure if this is consistent. I hope it is. I hope it's not a timeline. I hope it's something that at any point you do achieve the next tier that you just are rewarded Spark. But that's something I'm not 100% sure of, is if it's open on a consistent basis or if that's within a certain timeline. So that's something I have to verify. However, they did have another window to gain Spark today. If you had registered to make a purchase, today was a day in which you can make those, opportunity to buy. But what they've also added is now the ability that if you're doing treasure hunts and you participate in the treasure hunts, where we're here, you now are able within the treasure hunt games to collect Spark. So in any point in any city, it's open now to any city, part of a treasure hunt, and you want to get involved in the treasure hunt, you can actually go in and have a chance to win some Spark. Again, the amount of Spark will be randomly selected, but it is a possibility. It's so this is a lucrative item. It helps with property builds, and it's something that a lot of people are willing to look forward to. So I'm in Kansas right now, and this is one of the property areas that was released maybe about 2 weeks ago, and you can see that it has some little builds happening in and around the city. The latest area that was selected right now, if I could go to New Orleans. Hopefully it will just pop up. Let's see if I just click anything New Orleans and we'll zoom out. This was the latest release in the city, and you can see that that's been filling up pretty well. A lot of activity that's happened in the city. That's far more busier than Kansas itself, and rightfully so. It is a more popular city in terms of activity. It has historical relevance, and people recognize it globally in terms of its popularity. There's a lot of iconic images, or I should say iconic properties in Orleans. So you can understand why it was one of those cities that more or less would have sold out practically overnight. Now, I didn't participate in it. Like I said, I've kind of cut loose on the Chase in the City releases, because I know right now, at least from my understanding, that they're going to be releasing cities on a more frequent basis, which is fine, because if you look at the map, if I blow out the map a little bit further out at this point, you can see there's now a different dispersity in terms of where these block explorers lie there, and which is what's needed. Like the game needed to bring a breakdown of how the players play out the game itself. So you can see here you have the Brooklyn, New York, you have Cleveland, Chicago, Kansas. Down here you have California area. I think now they have to go a little bit more west. At the same time too, it would be great if they also get overseas. It would be something that would be interesting next approach. But I believe at this point is because of the NFL, and if you've probably been paying attention to the game overall, they have the license agreement for the NFL Players Association products and line and branding, I should say. So anything within that realm or within that group of category, those cities are now being the ones that are being targeted. So the next city coming along will be Tennessee. Again, don't know when and or how soon, but this is all to facilitate the package agreement with the NFL PA service, or the NFT package that they have in place. So you can see if you're in New Orleans, you'll be finding all these little neighborhoods to participate in, and there's still good areas to achieve some kind of value if you want to. Again, depending on your needs, depending on what you're looking to do. But I do like the fact that now the game is spreading out a bit more. You're not having this heavy concentration on one or two cities or even three. It's forcing players now to kind of spread out, make more decisions. And I've said this before, but it's forcing a little bit more diversification in terms or disbursement in terms of where the gameplay is happening. So if I want to go to New Orleans, I have now really think, okay, what am I going to be doing in New Orleans? What am I going to try to achieve? Where would I want to go? What purpose? And then at the same time, what can I expect to see happening? Now, in terms of builds, let's go into the cities that I know for sure. So Bakersfield. I haven't, we haven't been seeing much in Bakersfield, and it's been a quiet area. It's one of those little clusters that's silent, and you got to watch out for the silent areas. But you see all this FSA. So if you're, like I tell people, if you're a new player, look at what's available for you right now. This cluster, if you're a brand new player and you stay under, you maintain under 100,000 UPX, a majority of these properties will be yours, right there for the taking. Um, if we look at, but let's see what's been going on in as far as the builds happening. I'm trying to find a neighborhood that was doing builds. Okay, I could look at one area, Red Hook. That's one of the areas that I'm part of, and we'll get that back to Portrio Hill, and we'll get back to other zones as well. And sorry for the little bit of delay here, but we can see Van Brent is one of the areas that they're looking to concentrate on the builds, and you can see they have a theme going on, and it's going to be one of those nice areas that you want to see flourish. From this, independent projects that are doing their own things off chain. So, like I said, a lot of things are going on off chain, which I'm looking forward to. It's happening on chain as well. So you have a lot of development in terms of Spark rental, Spark donations. Planning structures, all these different things that are happening off chain. The communication factors are happening off chain, and I would, as I said, I would love to see that happen a bit more within the game, so you can see it happening live if need be, and determine. You can see that even though the game itself may seem a little static, but there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes itself. And let's take a look at Portreal Hill. I said this is one of my favorite neighborhoods as well. And you can see all these nice little sectors happening in the builds. And I just finished one of my builds. I have to add to that recently. I'm also helping my partner and a sibling with their build. So we're getting things going. Both in Portreal Hill and some of it in Dog Patch. So, and we have other areas as well that we have to look into. Like I said, we have in Cleveland, we have in Fresno, and all these other spots as well. So this is what's going on in Upland. Like I said, I'm not telling you if you should or should not anticipate to join or not join, but I do understand for a lot of players that they find it hard to kind of break in and get a feel of what the game is all about. This is one of those is a gradual build, but I have to say there's certain things that Upland does need to kind of step up with the game on. They need to find in more in-game mechanics to bring purpose for me to or anybody to kind of log in and play the game itself. Like I said, treasure hunts is one thing. I'm not a fan of treasure hunts, spark or no spark. It just doesn't do it for me. But it may do it for others. But they do need to bring something else. They do need to get the ball rolling and trying to get the next layers of game attributes or gaming components in place. But until then, I do think it is a great opportunity nonetheless, because now there's many cities in which players can make choices on and kind of, build a niche for themselves and lock themselves, find a nice little workaround that they want to do. And there's a huge list of communities that are being developed and sharing the spaces. And you know what? if you want to find out more, always send me some of your comments. I've been answering as many as I can, catching up with as much of the information that's there, and helping the players out. When I catch those requests. So it's there. The game is, like I said, the game is different. As you can see by the style of the block explorers, you can see it by the style of the game itself. It is definitely a slower process than most games. It's not an MMO. It's not a PvP directly in that sense. It's strategy. It's just pure strategy on itself. There's other mechanics being worked on to help facilitate, what portfolio assets that you have in place. But I can't say more because they just don't exist at the moment. But as I said, it's just one of those things that kind of you gotta grind your way through and be patient, and just kind of grit your teeth and go, okay, I know at some point this is kind of come through. So at times, I mean, I've seen players just walk away from the game for a few weeks or even a few months and then come back. It may be one of those things. That's what it may take. So be it. But it's not something, as I said, it's been around now for just over 2 years, and it's not looking to go anywhere. But it is something that you have to be patient with. That's all I can say about that. So leaving Upland, and we're now going to move to Alien Worlds. And Alien Worlds, now, I haven't touched about Alien Worlds for a very, very long time, and simply because, I heard so many things, the game's dead, it's dead, and I'm not one to do much of a counterproductive kind of debate because it's just a waste of energy. Generally, when games are quiet but still running, it means things are often, and this is in any industry, are being worked on behind the scenes. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that they're not going to be sharing. They're not going to be coming out with every up to date news bit of information, which I find fantastic. I don't want to be bombarded with something unless it's done and is ready to be released. I rather say, do what you got to do, work what you have to work on. You know what the challenges are. You know what you have to address. Focus. That way you're not distracting from just answering to every women call from players that are just, for some reasons, lack any vision. The game has established itself as under a year old. Remember that this is under. It was officially released late December 2020. So it had gone through its little hiccups. Part of it was the bot. It got and part of it was a misguidance for the stock on Binance, but it knew it had to scale back, and it meant basically kind of detaching itself from all this media and social media announcement. And what was the return? What was the return of all this hard work and basic uh, development and concentration? A new interface, a brand new interface, a revamped interface is one of those things where I didn't expect this, to tell you the truth. So what you were looking at here, I already signed in. This is now the overall feature, and this is something, and I've mentioned this as well many times. Your UI, if you're a developer, your UI is the cornerstone. If you, especially for blockchain, if you're looking to bring usability to the masses, like anything else, want things as simplified as possible. Your UI has to show that. Your UI has to be almost foolproof as much as it can be. It's simple, easy to achieve, and this is what they've done. Not to say that what they had previously wasn't as neat and informative, but this now brings it all together. Everything is now in place, and I'll go through it quite kind of quickly. So you have your balance at the top, you have your login, you have your avatar that you've selected. I can change the avatar. You can do that in the kind of settings that are here. This is your charge, and this is what you need to do to mine if you're ready to mine. This is your inventory. This is all the inventories that you have in place. This is if anything, the major cornerstone success of this new revamping of the tools. You need to see your inventory. You shouldn't have to be going to another page outside of the game to find out what I have. It should be tying into my inventory, and I should see it right off the bat. And now I can go in and select it. I could go through just purely equipment. I can go through all the avatars, which is what I have here. I can go through the weapons and lands and the minions, and when it comes to the fighting process, and I can also sort key important features. Now, maybe later on they'll add the search, maybe, but right now I'm not going to knock hard on that particular element. So now I'm going to go into the interface here, which is settings. You have all the mining information that you need. You can switch your tools. So I can go in and switch the tools that I have in place and say, okay, I want to switch out whatever tools and go through that switch. I'm not going to do that right now because I like the tools I'm using. It tells me even in the tools, once I go into tools, where I am in the location, what the plan is providing, its filtrate, its charge time overall, and its power of luck and proof of work reduction. That's what the plan is showing to me in place. Again, information's in the immediate access point. I can switch to planet, I can switch to land. Again, I can go to my inventory here, I can go into shining tools. I can select, okay, what tools that I have that I want to shine. There are 4 shining levels, and I can go through the process of shining what I need. If I go back again to the inventory, the governance factor that's coming in place. It tells me what I have per planet, if I have it on every single planet. And I can add to that if I so decided to as well, and what percentage I would like to do, and if I want to unstake it or not. These are, again, ready in place, visually clean, visually neat, easy to understand. The teleporting, this is a factor that's coming in later on. They've revamped this teleporting. We've worked on it before, and I've shown how this process works. And you remember, you have to have either connect to your MetaMask either through the Binance, through the Ethereum or the Binance, and now they've added Anchor. You can connect to either one of those two as well, or if you have both, you decide which one you want to utilize for this teleporting feature when it comes into place. And now this is one of those things where I'll have to kind of, I hope they are find ways to kind of figure out how this is going to work for the lockdowns that certain countries are doing now against Binance. So we have to see how usable these features are going to be by the timeline that certain nations or certain countries may not have any access to Binance itself. So that's another question to determine, because this is the missions that the teleport will support, and that's currently locked in place. So all these are things that you want to kind of say for yourself. This is again, this is great. This is information I want to see. This is information I want to participate in. This is the process that I hope to be involved with. And when the governance comes in and is ready to be prepared, then we'll go through all that. So if I'm going through the mining feature, remember, if you look at all the mining elements and they select tools, remember, everything that you see here is what was on it previously. So I have my mining power, I have my NFT luck feature here, I have the charge time, and or I should say the reduction of my charge time, proof of work reduction. But then I can always go back, and if I'm going to go to mine, and then go claim mine for the sake of claiming it. It tells you how much you received. It gets updated right away, and it tells you your next mining attempt. Again, very responsive, very, very fast, a lot quicker, and you could do this mobily as well. So remember, if you're on an Android or on a smartphone of any, I guess iPhone or Android, you could do this on a mobile device as well. And what's nice about some of this information right here, and if I go to my inventory, I think is what I wanted to do here. I can flip. It gives me the information of what those tools are. Again, I can see the back of the information, any details I want to look into, and I see it right away. So these are the things that It's not that I'm saying it because just like the game. Because I really do like the game. Again, it's a very simple task-oriented game. It's not, again, about this bells and whistles and excitement. It's not an MMO, just like the previous game I just talked about. It's not PvP, and not just yet, because when they start doing their Battle Thunderdome, that may be a factor separate to the mining, but it's simple mining. It's okay. The task is I want to gain NFT, and I'll touch on that NFT element in a second, and Trillium. This is the pure task of the moment. The complication out of that is removed. Now, when it comes to the NFT has not yet been reissued or redistributed, simply because, again, all this has been in terms of finding ways to assure that when the NFTs are dropped, they're going to actual players. So an NFT has not been reinstated just yet, because again, with all this reconstruction of the game interface, the NFT elements is something they really want to pay attention to, and so in lieu of that, they are, or I should say, several communities or even the game itself has created separate NFT drops outside of the automatic one that you do get for mining. So if you're part of the Discord, or you see it on their Twitter announcements, you'll see these opportunities in which you can register or submit your again wax address and participate in mining, and again gain some mining NFTs from there. So all the features are coming together for Alien Worlds. They said they'll be making a large list of announcements for the month of October. So pay attention, stay tuned, and remember, this is what the whole true gaming factor is all about. It's stages, is about evolving, is about the next step forward in the process, and it's not always the easiest. It does take time, and you just have to kind of be patient and work its way through. So that's it for this particular episode. I'll be following up with another one shortly. So thank you for following, and remember to follow, share, leave your comments. You know, have any questions, please let me know. I definitely will do my best to respond and get back to you as quickly as possible. So until then, take care, everybody.